Hey, you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Transformers Kingdom War for Cybertron Trilogy Warpath figure from Hasbro. Now this is a deluxe figure. It is part of the new Kingdom line, which basically sees both Beast Wars and G1 characters coming together. As always with these figures, I really love the packaging. I think, the packaging for all these War for Cybertron figures that Hasbro's been doing has just been awesome. It's probably the best packaging out of any of the lines in recent years that Hasbro's been doing, and I just love this artwork. So you've got Warpath, and you can see the image kind of wraps around to the side in both modes, robot and vehicle mode. And then you've got that kind of looks like volcano with lava coming down, and you can see up there at the top of the mountain is the arc. So colors really pop. On the top here, you've got the Autobot symbols, since Warpath is a G1 Autobot. On this side, you've got just an image that's the same on all the packaging. I think it's a cool image, but it is the same image on all the packaging. And I really love seeing, I believe that's Galvatron up at the top, and I'm pretty sure he will make his way into this line. And then on the back of the packaging, you've got a look at the figure in both modes. You've got, I don't know what this symbol is supposed to be, but I believe this green portal that you see the figure standing on, and on the back of the packaging with all the figures, you see them standing on this portal. And I believe that's essentially how the Beast War characters and the G1 characters all come to be in the same place, as I understand it anyway. Alright, so let's get this open and take a look at the figure inside. Now, when you're first taking the figure out of the packaging, one of the things you might notice is over here on the side in the insert, they've included trading cards. They're actually trading / sticker cards. Also, I just want to note that with a lot of the figures, they've stuck like an accessory. If the figure has an accessory, they stuck it in the back underneath here. So it's easy to miss if you're not looking for it. So just be careful and check thoroughly through the insert to make sure you've pulled out all the accessories before you throw it away. But with each of the figures in this Kingdom line, except for the smallest core figures, you will get this trading / sticker card. There are 4 different trading cards in the first wave, and they are randomly inserted. So if you collect all the figures in the wave, you'll probably end up with doubles. And you get this outer image. So you can see here, this is the Autobot arc, and you can see it's flying through space, and it is a hologram type card. On the back of these cards, it's the same. You've just got that circle symbol with I guess Autobot or Cybertronian symbols on it. I don't know what the meaning of that is yet, but that's on the back of every card. But then on the front, you get the image with the hollow type deal, and then you can peel this off. It's an actual sticker, so you can apply it back onto the card, or you can stick it to something else. It's really up to you. But then you get a different image on the underside, so the card kind of transforms, and you can see with the image on this one, it's the arc that's crashed into the mountainside. And then you also get some weird writing on there. So again, there are 4 different cards in the first wave. So you've got the arc, you get Black Arachnia, and I'm not going to peel off the under image. However, if you do want to go to Toy News International, we've got a full gallery and showing off all the cards, both the outer image and the image underneath. But you've got with this one, Black Arachnia, Optimus Prime, and then the final one is Dinobot. Now, before we take a look at the actual figure itself, I just want to give a shout out to the folks at Diorama Prince. They are the ones that have provided the backdrop that you see featured in this video, and they specialize in backdrops for things like toy photography. You can check them out at dioramaprince.com. They are a sponsor of the websites, and I have a link to their site down below in the description. And if you use the code TOYNEWS10, you will get a 10% discount on your next purchase with them. Now for the figure itself. So first of all, you do get an instruction sheet like you always do, and it'll show you how to transform him and everything. So nothing terribly different there. Warpath does not have a lot of accessories. The only thing you get is this kind of shield piece that you can attach in various places. Wherever there's a hole, it's just a peg. And it is needed also to complete his tank mode. So that's really the main thing for it. But, they show it with it like on his shoulder there. So it's supposed to be kind of like a shoulder shield or something. It would look better if there was actually 2 of them in robot mode, but I understand why there's not. So, it's really up to you whether you want to keep it attached attached to the figure when you have him in robot mode. But for the figure itself, I've got to say this is probably one of the best G1 Warpaths that they've done to date. It looks very much like he did in the original G1 cartoon. I love the head sculpt with, you know, he's got the little vents here that are sculpted on the side, just like he did in the cartoon. You've got the white around the eyes, and the eyes actually you know, stand out nicely on the face. So most of the figure is done in this maroon color, which, you know, again is in keeping with the original G1 Warpath. And, you know, he's got his tank turret, which, you know, is supposed to, you know, be pushed in, but you can actually, if you want, you can extend it outward. You know, that's for tank mode, but you can have him extend it out in tank mode as well. He does not come with any kind of blaster or anything. It would have been cool maybe if we'd gotten a blaster for him, but, you know, of course he can just shoot people with his tank turret if he wants to. You've got the treads. My only minor complaint is I do think the feet come off looking a little big in his robot mode. I mean, again, I understand why, but that if I had any complaint, I would say his feet maybe look a little big on the figure. But otherwise, you know, I think this is a near perfect representation of the G1 Warpath, and his tank mode is even better, which I'll show you in a moment. And you've got nice detailing there on the back, so not a lot of kibble or anything showing off. You know, you do have the treads that stick out on his arms, but you know, again, overall, I think they've done a really nice job with the detailing, and I'll show you more of this when we get him in his tank mode, but just the sculpting detail on his body, I just think is really nicely done with this one. They've captured, you know, a lot of detail of what you would see on an actual tank. Now, in his robot mode, he stands roughly about 4 3/4 inches tall. Here's a comparison with the Earthrise Cliff Jumper, and you can see Warpath is a bit taller here. Here's a comparison with one of the older Warpath figures Hasbro has done, and while I always thought this was a pretty cool figure, I definitely am digging this new Kingdom version better. And then finally, here's a comparison of the Leader Class Kingdom Optimus Prime figure, which is also being released in the first wave. And I think the scale between these two is pretty good. Now let's take a look at the articulation, and for a Transformer, I think he's actually got a pretty good range of movement, so you can rotate the head all the way around. You get a little bit of up and down movement, but not a whole lot. But again, you can rotate the head all the way around. Now with the arms, you can get the arms out good. You can actually, well, that's about as far up as you can get the arm, but you can definitely get it straight out, and then you've got good rotation. You don't have any kind of butterfly joint there at the shoulder, so that's really it as far as movement there. You've got a single hinge type elbow, so he can bend his elbow that much, but you also get rotation there at the elbow, and then you get rotation with the hands, so pretty good movement there. You get a waist rotation there for the midsection, and then if you want to pull this back piece, it's really kind of more part of his transformation, but if you wanted to pull that back piece down, then you can actually rotate the cannon portion of him. So I don't know, it's really kind of up to you, but I wouldn't technically call it articulation, but it's just something you can do if you want. And then of course, like I said, you can pull out the turret if you want to and push it in, and then he can do the splits really good, and he can get his leg up high, which is nice, and you can do the leg back pretty good as well. You also get a thigh swivel. You get a single tape bending knee joint, so you know you can still bend pretty good there. And then you get a little bit of pivot with the transformation on the foot, but really you don't get a lot of foot articulation on this one. But like I said, especially for a Transformer, I think he's got a pretty good range of motion. Before I transform him into his tank mode, I just want to note that if you end up getting the Palotrex figure, which is a new character that they're doing for the line, you can take this guy apart, and if you know in the instructions for the Palotrex, they show you how you can take pieces from him and kind of like stick them on the Warpath figure. I think Warpath ends up looking kind of silly with all the pieces on there, but I guess it's something that maybe plays out in the storyline. Honestly, it just looks like something, you know, somebody wanted to come up with a play feature, and so this is what they came up with. So it's really up to you. It's not something I would do with my figure, but it is a feature that is listed. Again, if you get the Deluxe Palotrex figure, which is also in Wave 1. Okay, so now to transform Warpath from his tank mode, or his robot mode I should say, to his tank mode, if you have the shield piece attached to him, you want to take that off and just set it aside for a moment. And then, you know, it's not a terribly difficult transformation, but I have found that pieces will sometimes stick to other pieces as you're turning them, and so it can just be a pain, and sometimes you'll knock other pieces off, so just be wary of that. But the transformation itself is not terribly difficult, so what I would suggest is you just start off and you just kind of pull the foot out, and you can pull this back piece out, which I just popped off, but you can turn it and just kind of pull it out like that. And then what you're going to do is grab the foot here, and you're going to detach it. You're going to kind of pull it around there at the lower leg, so it should come around like this. And then what you do here is you pull this piece up, and you form, essentially you're forming the lower tread of the figure. So again, it's not difficult, but sometimes pieces will catch, and so it just can be kind of a pain. So do the same thing over here, and again, just kind of pull this piece out, then you grab it and you kind of pull it around, and then you pull the track up, and it should pop into place like that. So again, you know, you're forming the lower tread. So for that, we'll come back to the feet in a moment. You got these pieces that you're going to want to essentially pull up, but what we want to now do is come up here, and with the head, so first thing you want to do is you can grab the arm and pull this shoulder piece back. So, and then what you want to do is take this little back piece here and pull it down, and that's where the head is going to go. But before you push the head in, you've got to pull out the turret, because the turret will prevent the head from going all the way in if you don't pull it out. And then all you do is you just flip the head around. Now, one thing I want to note with the head just attaches with a ball joint, and I have had it where the head actually got stuck and ended up popping off inside there, so then I had to take a pair of tweezers and pull the head out. So again, just be wary of that. But if you've done everything right, the head should come in and out fairly smoothly. So we'll go in and push it in, and then you just close this back piece up. So now we've essentially formed the turret of the tank. Okay, now with the arm, you're going to form the back portion of the tread. So what you want to do is you just take this piece, the tread is folded over, and you just pull it out. You want to do that on both arms. So again, just take the piece and fold it out, and then you're going to just kind of bring the arms down. So they're going to go underneath. The arms are going to kind of just fit underneath here, so that you're going to form the entire tread, and they'll actually just kind of, if you've done everything right, they should just kind of all snap together. So again, that you form the entire tread. Now this back piece, this is another one of those pieces that has a tendency to kind of get stuck. So what you want to do is make sure that you kind of stick your finger in there, so that again it doesn't go all the way down. And then if you've done everything right, again everything should just kind of come together and pop into place, and you've got your tank. And then finally what you want to do is you want to take that shield piece, and you've got these two holes here, and you've got little pegs here, and you just want to plug them up in there, and they should just, again, if you have everything aligned right, it should just snap into place, and that just kind of holds everything together. So now we'll take a detailed look at his tank mode, and I think his tank mode is near perfect. It looks dead on to how he appears in, you know, the cartoon and everything, the original G1 cartoon, and not a lot of kibble showing up, even on the underside. You know, I think it looks pretty good from the back there, and I like all the sculpting detail with like the paneling, especially up here on the turret. It almost looks like you can open this panel up. You can't, but it looks like you kind of can. So I just really like the detailing, and you can rotate the turret all the way around in tank mode, so that's pretty nice. And then the turret itself, or the cannon, you know, actually does elevate some, so you know he can fire up in the air, which again is nice. So I really like that. He's got his Autobot symbol there on the front, so that looks good. And the treads, you know, you've got just this maroon color, and then he's got the kind of whitish gray treads. So I don't know why this little knob piece is white. I don't know why they left that unpainted. That does stick out a little bit. So, but otherwise, you know, I think this is a near perfect looking version of Warpath from G1. And while I like the robot mode, I think the tank mode is like I said, just near perfect. And he's got two little wheels on the back there, so you know you can have him kind of roll around, and he actually rolls around pretty good. So just for a size comparison, here's a look at Warpath with the Earthrise Hound figure in his Jeep mode, and you can see Hound is actually a little bit bigger. So you know, I wouldn't say they necessarily scale correctly. A tank obviously should be bigger than a Jeep, but as far as the actual toys go, they're pretty close to the same size. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I think this is a very solid figure. It's one of my favorite in the first wave. I just like Warpath, and I think they've done a great job of capturing the likeness of the character from the original G1 cartoon, especially in tank mode. Even in robot mode, I do think his feet maybe are a little big, come off looking a little big, but even in robot mode, I think it's solid. Transformation is not super difficult. It can be a little bit of a pain sometimes when pieces catch on other pieces, but still, it's a fairly simple transformation. Not as simple as the original G1 toy, but still fairly simple. And if you're a fan of the original G1 Warpath, I think this is one you're definitely going to want to check out. Probably the best version they've done of Warpath since the original G1 toy. Now this figure, along with the first wave of Kingdom figures, should start hitting shelves wide, meaning you'll easily be able to find them in about 5 to 6 weeks, at least according to Hasbro. You might start seeing them, you know, see limited release sooner than that, but I would say, you know, when you can go out and just easily find them on shelves will probably be about 5 to 6 weeks. Again, a big thanks to Hasbro for sending me this figure so I could review it for you guys. We have a full image gallery up at Toy News International. I'll have a link to that in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video, and stay safe out there, guys. And until next time, I'll catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great!